So I got a commissions of 3 this time, starting with Max the Halfling, Luthien the Orc, and Throom the Elephant, or Elephant for fun. First thing I gotta do is clean them up, and this really isn't too bad to do. That lantern is like crooked though, I think it was just printed that way, so it was really tripping me out. And the customer asked that I turn their staff into a bird skull, and thankfully they already had pre-shaped the mace to kind of like give me a great head start, and from there this finally let me use like this nail stuff that I've been really wanting to try to shape it out. And then I was trying to make flowers for the orc as he needed a flower wreath. Yeah, I tried using resin and quickly found out that's not gonna happen. So I brought out my 2-part epoxy, which is super old at this point, but you know what, we're gonna try to make it work because I don't have extra funds to be buying new stuff. So I made a wreath to kind of give like a starter around his head, and let me tell you, this stuff, because it's so old, is just falling apart, and it was such a pain in the butt to do, but we finally got there. And then future me was like, well, maybe I can pre-make some flowers to kind of stick on there, but every time I did, it just was way too big. So in the end, I just started taking just tiny pieces of clumped and then just smushing it on there. And I'm like, you know what? It'll look like a flower at some point. And then, you know what? It worked out. I was really happy with the results because I was really running ideas. Look at that. It's beautiful. And it's going to look way better when it's painted. Now that I added the base to that little bird skull, it was time to clean it up. So I took out my tool and wanted to round everything off to kind of give it a little bit more of that skull bird vibe, and just started to Dremel the crap out of it. And look at it, it turned out so good. I was super happy. I've never done this. I was super excited. Back to the orc. Now it was just time for the painting part, as his little wreath thing, flower wreath, had been cured. And then look at that. Look how nice it turned out. Quick little simple bright little colors. Just how they I'm pretty sure hopefully how they wanted it. There was nothing extra that needed to be added to this halfling, but oh my goodness, let me tell you how excited I was to paint such a bright and vivid orange. It looked like a little leprechaun for like his Lucky Charms. Those are extra bits I had from making the wreath, so those little extra bits I usually just turn into tiny little rocks that I may or may not ever use, but hey, I have it. And now I'm just working on the base, and then also comic booking, which is like the last part that I do. And it's really hard to record comic booking, but it looks so good after. Low-key, this was like my favorite one I wanted to start, and I, saved the best for last because this one had such a really cool vibe, and it's supposed to be like a death cleric, and having them tell me to add the skull crow was super exciting. I tried to add flowers to it, but they were way too big. Had to look up some pictures on what a skull may or look like-ish from a crow. They also wanted some dark purples and blues, so I took a really dark purple and slowly brightened it up, and then I used, what's that called? The oxide to kind of give it that like spooky, weird, glowish color, and then started up my inking process as normal. And then I used white ink to do the tattoos. I think the customer is going to be pretty happy how these turned out, because I am super proud of these. If you want to book your commission, just send me a DM through my Facebook page.